Okay, welcome to Into the Channel, podcast primarily about women's football. Before we hit the pitch, if you enjoy the show or love women's football as much as your boys do, we invite you to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you like to watch or listen. Ratings and reviews always appreciated at ITC_pod on X, at Into the Channel pod on Threads. Champions League Matchday 4 completed, almost. Slavia Praha's Matchday 4 showdown with St. Polten was postponed until January 18th, 2024 due to the despicable and incredibly tragic mass shooting that took place at Charles University in Prague. We pray and send heartfelt condolences to every family, friend, and individual affected by this cowardly act of violence.
Yeah, it seems impossible to escape this kind of stuff in the world we live in today. I do want to mention a few things. Prague Police Chief Peter Matejek, he said the following at a press conference after the shooting, quote, "When I saw the amount of ammunition, the weapons that he brought, what he was prepared for, I can only thank my officers for their quick action. They prevented many more deaths." End quote. So I won't belabor this point. I don't think this is why people tune into the Channel podcast, but Dino and I live in the United States of America, and this is way too common. The Czech Republic's gun problem is nowhere near as bad as the USA's. However, that country's parliament gave citizens an expanded right to own guns in 2021. This is from an ABC News report written by Karol Janicek of the Associated Press. The Czech Republic has 10.9 million people. 314,000 of those people obtained a gun license by the end of last year, and they owned almost 1 million weapons. This is when gun rights were expanded in 2021. Now, citizens in the Czech Republic, they must be 21 years or older, quote, be in good health and mentally responsible, end quote, and pass a written and practical test in order to obtain their gun license. But once a person meets all those requirements, the authorities who keep the records don't need to inform police about the number of guns that people have, according to a police officer quoted in that Associated Press report. So I'll just say, I have no faith that where Dino and I live in the USA, that we'll ever be able to unring this bell of people owning dangerous weapons of war and high-capacity magazines. But I really hope that people in other countries and other countries' governments take real measures to limit gun ownership as much as possible. Just want to say, I say this, I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. I've fired and I've been trained on the M16 machine gun, the M240 Bravo machine gun. I've used these things. I've held them in my hands. They're devastating. They're horrible. They're meant for war, which I have my own opinions on how much war there should be. Obviously, I think it's the worst thing in the world. So I will just say, for citizens to be able to obtain these type of weapons, I just think it's a path to a very bad place. And again, I'm not going to stand on my soapbox too long here, but I really do believe the only way to truly prevent as many of these tragedies as possible moving forward is to limit gun ownership, create registries, various other government measures that have proven to work, even in singular states in the United States. So I just hope that countries around the world look at USA and say, that is not a shining star on a hill. That is a place that we want to go the exact opposite direction and limit this type of gun ownership in the future.
Cheers to that. Into the Channel is not, nor ever will be, the type of show to let some asshole derail our enthusiasm or admiration for the sport we love. So today, we stay grateful for every opportunity we get to celebrate sport, to celebrate human accomplishment, and to celebrate life. I'm your host, Stephen Cespedes, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Grand Angle. What's up, man?
Well, there really is no good way to transition out of that, but I commend you for the way you've set that up. Appreciate you giving me the space to say it, and I obviously appreciate your perspective on these things. But we're here to talk about these great players in this incredible tournament, and what we've seen so far has been the height of Champions League football. So let's distract ourselves with this silly yet life-affirming game that we love so much.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Where do you want to get started?
I don't think there's any other option for me, buddy. We got to start Group B, the early game on Thursday. Lyon, the Juggernauts. 2, Brann, the lovable, not so much of an underdog. 2, they force the draw. They find the draw. My main thing here, Brann isn't here to play. They're not here to participate in the tournament. They're here to score goals, and they're here to win matches. Brann started, they attacked early. In my notes at one point, a few minutes into the match, I just write in all caps, Brann, 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 because I just love, they're on the front foot. They're going down the wings. Everything is looking good for those first 5 minutes. And at this point, I'm using we's to discuss Brann. In my notes, I'm just like, we're winning the first 5 minutes. And then very shortly after that, that attacking posture leaves them very vulnerable. Daniëlle van de Donk drives the ball pretty much all the way down the pitch. She sends in a cross. Amel Majri finishes with relative ease. 1-0 Lyon, 6 minutes in. I mentioned it in our other episode about Hacken where when Chelsea scored, it felt like the Hacken fans did not stop cheering. In real time, when Lyon scores this goal, it was in the middle of a Brann fan chant, and they did not break the chant. They just kept it going. The energy in that arena in Bergen, and I ain't talking about Jersey, Bergen, Norway, the atmosphere in there was just beautiful, and it was coming through the screen. Lyon scores 1-0. Nobody cares. They won't be deterred. Brann continued to hold the ball, but then Lyon comes back on an attack, and there's a cynical foul in the box. We leave it to Eide Hegerberg, Norwegian hero, for the penalty kick. She sends Mikalsen the wrong way. We're 13 minutes in. We're down 2-0. And I got to tell you, as much as the confidence should have been shaken, I still was holding on to like 30% to like, I think we can still make this a game.
I mean, we've talked about the difference between what Lyon looks like when they're completely overwhelming and what they've looked like against this Brann side. Now, let me couch that by saying the first goal when Lyon's running a 5-on-4 fast break and they've just got 5 gazelles out there just
tough,
sprinting in unison and just perfect play, perfect execution. It feels like Lyon scores in the first 8 minutes of every match.
Every time.
I'm gonna have to go back and fact check this, but that's just their MO at this point. But I'm with you. The environment there, the crowd, unbelievable. This one was not over by a long shot.
No, I thought the announcer did a good job of pointing it out. Another into the channel favorite, Signe Gaupset, showing out during the whole match. Looked like the best player on the pitch for stretches, like different stretches throughout the match. Was clearly Brann's best player throughout the match. It looked like she could stand up against anybody on the Lyon side. You talk about all those worldies that they have over there. She's just moving the ball down the field. She's juking defenders. She's making the right passes. She's super sharp. And credit to Lyon, obviously they have world-class players. They're forcing Brann to make quick decisions. Brann was absolutely up for it. At the 30-minute mark, Brann had 60% of the ball against Lyon.
Wow.
And they looked great. They were holding on to it, and they were forcing Lyon into playing a counter-attacking style of football. But as we saw from those first 2 opportunities, you force Lyon to play counter-attack, and Lyon goes, we'll do. We can play that way. That's fine. Like you said, because at any given moment they have 5 to 7 gazelles running down the pitch at you. But what do we get in the 34th minute? As I'm feeling good, I'm like, okay, I think we're still in this. In the 34th minute, Gaupset, she drives the ball down the field, takes the ball into the final third. It's like a quarter chance. It kind of starts to bounce around. As it is bouncing, looking like it might be able to be an opportunity for Lyon to clear, Gaupset turns away because she sees Justine Kielland coming in from the midfield, who hits an absolute laser into the back of the net. Justine Kielland, for everybody who remembers in the last match, when she scored to pull 1 goal back against Lyon, kind of near garbage time last match, where I feel Brann pretty comfortably won the last 30 minutes of the reverse fixture. Kielland had a super surprised look on her face when she scored that goal last match. Like, oh yeah, look at that. Like, the ball fell to me and I was able to knock it in. This one, never a doubt. She steps up and goes, oh yeah, that one's mine, and just absolutely drills it in the net. I was going crazy. Down 2-1. We have ourselves a football match.
Doing a little background. She just turned 21 years old.
Exactly. And looks every bit of it.
The amount of young talent just showing out on this stage has been really an inspiration.
Yep.
These players, they just do not give a fuck. They're just like ready to run and like they're just not afraid of the moment. I mean, it's wild to see like a Real Madrid side, kind of unravel emotionally a little bit. You imagine being on this Brann side, you're down 2-0 to Lyon. You called it out last week. They won that last third of the match, and that really injected some legitimate confidence into how they were going to approach this match, and they leaned all the way back on that.
I love it, and I feel like they get some of that confidence from a lot of their different players here. I want to talk a little bit about Rakel Engesvik. Just a combination of savvy, smooth, but then also plays with like a bounce. Like, oh, the ball's coming to me. Like, I'm already like quick turning up the field or quick turning around and hitting a perfect pass to then set up a 3-way play with like a couple players to like get the ball back into space. So clever, so smart, always on the front foot, always looking to attack. But there's that player again, Signe Gaupset. She starts another run in the 38th minute. She sends a perfect pass up to Crummer, who smartly was able to stay onside. She gives it to Engesvik, who has a go. She forces a corner kick when it's deflected off a defender. It was just another moment in the match where I'm just like, man, Brann is looking good. They are not afraid of these Lyon players at all. But it takes me back to, I couldn't even say like, oh, they pulled it to 2-1. The confidence is back. It never left. And that is like the mentality that I just love about this team. I thought Moroni for Lyon, she had a moment where she had to foul Engesvik, and Moroni was already on a yellow. You could even hear in the announcer's voice, like when they showed the replay, just like, is that going to be a red? But she got kind of the benefit of, in America, I believe, the official nomenclature will eventually be the Draymond Green foul, where you already have one technical foul or you already have a yellow card, so you get more lenience on the next foul that you commit. So she wasn't shown a red there, which I'm fine with, obviously. And then right before we go into halftime, there's a little bit of a nervy spot for Mikalsen. She's able to parry across enough for a defender to fully clear it as the half is expiring. And we go into the half 2-1, which is just absolutely gigantic. I think we talk about it all the time. Those last 8 minutes of a half feels like they can change the complexion of every match.
100%. What'd you see in the second half?
Brann comes out swinging again. They're pushing the ball down the field. I think Lyon is trying to focus a little more on holding the ball. Hegerberg is dropping back into the midfield a little more. At least that's what I felt like I was seeing. And you'll see that a lot. You take your great striker and you say, hey, come on, let's help everybody get settled in the midfield. Come on back a little bit, track back. Let's play possession. And then, so in the 52nd minute, we get a little bit of American football in this match. Karoline Haugland for Brann. She has a clear foul on Horan. It's not a great foul. She gave the ball away. Horan took it off her. She fouls Horan from behind. Horan, needless to say, takes exception. She stands up and immediately shoves Haugland right in front of the referee. Shoves her and then turns and walks away, completely ignores the referee, says something I'm going to guess was not very friendly to Haugland after she made the shove.
Yep.
And it looks like to me, and I'm curious how you experienced this situation in real time, the ref starts to pull the card and I'm like, okay, yeah, Horan's got to get a yellow for that. Horan says something and then turns her back on the referee, and it's almost like the ref like kind of pulled her hand down and it was like, I think I'm going to pull the other card, and like fumbles with her pocket. And as she's like fumbling with her pocket to get out the red, you could see Hegerberg run up and go, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Like everybody's running up to the ref to say, don't show it. And she shows her a straight red. Lindsey Horan, straight red in the 52nd minute. And we got ourselves a new football game, but I want to know, what do you think about the decision?
If you ask me as a fan, I fucking love it, because now it's game time. But, in the spirit of fair play, that was not a red card.
Certainly not.
Totally undeserved. I mean, I think it's just a probably bad moment for the ref. Not much else to say about it. It's just bad snap judgment. But again, we've talked about it a bunch of times on the pod. Refs make mistakes. Lindsey Horan, that is how she plays. Wasn't surprised to see her do that. I'm sure she wasn't expecting, okay, I'm risking a red here. Now we got ourselves a game.
Absolutely. So yeah, we got to crack the beer for this one, because this is where things start to get exciting. In my notes, I say, wow, that was way, way harsh. But we're in the tank for Brann, baby, so let's go. So Lyon is down to 10 in a match that they were already kind of chasing, which is amazing to say about a match that you're winning 2-1, but Brann is holding possession. Just wild times.
Dude, real quick, before you scoot ahead, the stats on the game, Brann, 63% possession.
Yep.
They had 621 passes attempted to Lyon's 360. Almost twice the number of passes, both attempted and completed. Shots on target, 6-1, and shots overall, 13-8. So Brann basically dominated on the stat sheet.
How do you not love this squad? Just so fucking great. Everything. I love everything about this team. So typical me, I started to get a little nervy. I was like, okay, Lyon is down to 10. Attack. And credit to the coaching staff and the players here, they didn't like immediately like ratchet up the pressure. They were like, okay, let's kind of like get a feel for how Lyon is going to set their defensive shell here with 10.
Yep.
As a guy who knows a lot about boxing, uses parlance, it was almost just like, okay, let me get a couple like feel out rounds and just like get my distance, get my pace, and like kind of figure out where I want to be. I noticed Diani, with no choice, essentially at that point, has to start helping way back on defense. Mm-hmm. You like that as a Brann fan. It's like, as far away from the goal as we can keep Diani, I'm all right with that. Even though, who knows, she might score from the halfway line one of these matches. You never know from her. So yeah, Diani has to step way back. Brann brings Holland off. They bring on Eide, which is certainly an attacking-minded change in the 64th minute. They start to press. They start kind of leaning on him more and more and more. So at first, when I was like a little concerned, like, okay, they're not directly attacking after this red card, it was just like the vice kind of started to tighten and tighten and tighten. As we go, we get to the 80th minute. We have a few more subs. Snow game. The snow starts coming down. We're in Bergen, Norway. The scene looks beautiful. It's just everything is ramping up. The ball is kind of milling around midfield, but Brann is getting their chances. They don't care about the snow. They're continuing to press. And what do you know? 90+3, a corner kick. There's a Brann player on the ground. It bounces around. And who else could it possibly fall to than Signe Gaupset, who drills the equalizer? I'm running around my living room just like, get out of here. Let's go. Like, I cannot believe this is happening. And they deserved it, man. Like you said, they had 60% possession throughout the match. They had more shots. They had more shots on goal. A draw is a fair result here. You don't love the card, but I kind of love the card. I'll take it. And now here we are. Brann, everything to play for. They're way in this tournament. They are going to be tough to beat. I don't care what team they're playing.
100%. Yeah, they're going to be a nightmare. They're on 7 points. Lyon's on 10. And again, we talked about the other two teams, St. Pölten's and Slavia Praha, both on 1. So it looks like both those teams are going to cruise through. But I'm with you, man. Just a sports movie if I ever saw one, right down to the snow. Gaupset obviously finishes emphatically. The ball's just bouncing around in the box. Feels like forever, bodies strewn all over the place. What a moment. Shout out to our guy at Paffin per Arne for giving us a little window into his viewing experience. That was pretty cool to see.
Unbelievable.
I mean, the quarterfinals, what's exciting is they're starting to take shape a little bit outside of the Group of Life, Group C. But I think we're at a point where we can start to get excited about what's upcoming.